Technologic.
Marketing Tech Blog.
Technologic.
So, have you ever been to Dinosaur World?
I have not. I was like, where in the world is this huge dinosaur coming from?
It's I can't remember. I think it's in Kentucky. It's south of Louisville.
I want to go.
I know it's like out in the middle of nowhere,
Company
but
trip.
as you're driving, you can't. There's a big Tyrannosaurus Rex on the side of the road, and you just can't miss it. So I had to stop. So I stopped there, and then down the street is Yogi Bear World.
What?
Yeah. So
Company trip.
So I had a selfie with Yogi. You know.
Oh, I missed that one.
And then up a little bit is a zip line. Like
wow, this sounds like the best exit.
I
Yeah,
know.
right.
I know.
Food too.
And yeah, there's food, and there's like this huge zip line, but I'm afraid to get on any zip line. I don't want to stress test a zip line, so I don't want to find out how many times I bounce. But yeah, I make that. I like driving for some reason. I just like driving.
I love driving.
Yeah, so I go 8 hours and then stop in like Chattanooga or Nashville. And then go another 8 hours, and I'm down in Bradenton, Florida. So I love it. I love the drive. Georgia State Troopers, just watch out for those guys. Yeah. They're everywhere.
Especially if you're from out of state.
I've never been stopped,
No.
Thank goodness. But when I get to Georgia, I go the speed limit because they're everywhere. Yeah. And they have big, audacious cars with blue lights everywhere.
Really?
It looks like a UFO landing or something. It's some scary stuff. So, I guess we got to talk about Marketing Tech Blog.
I guess.
Well, I love the fact that we're talking about WordPress because the ability to, when we're talking to companies all the time is in order to rank, you have to have content.
Mm-hmm.
In order for people to research you online, you have to have content. In order for people to learn about you, you have to. Content is the baseline for everything that you do online.
Yep.
You can't just go have you can't have a Twitter account and talk up a storm without people being able to say, who is this person? And go research you online and find that information. And WordPress has just made that spectacularly easy for everybody. So we love it as a content management system. Now, I'm not knocking others. Like we have clients that utilize Drupal and do a great job with it.
Yep.
And especially if they're running community type stuff and a lot of custom and maybe running millions of pages, sometimes that's a good thing. Here in Indianapolis, we have the folks that work on Plone, 6 Feet Up. Plone is like one that some of the universities have tens of millions of pages on it.
Really?
And it run. And so you can imagine opening up WordPress.
WordPress would be difficult, yeah.
Yeah. And so there's, we're not saying it's the end all be all. It depends but for the common small business, you just can't beat it.
No.
And the fact is you don't have to talk to a developer to get your site up. And I think that's the key to it, is that you can get it up. You get someone like Site Strategics, obviously, to set it up to begin with. And that's the other thing is WordPress is only as good as the company that helped you set it up, that wrote the theme, that designed the plugins. If you take WordPress and you put a crappy theme on it or some terrible plugins, you're going to have problems. Yeah. And so, I think it's worth the investment to go up front with someone and get that type of thing. And then, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, and the other thing, too, is someone who understands, like, there's going to be plugins who don't talk to each other very well. Yeah. And someone who's identified those problems with plugins that are downloaded is important.
Well,
too.
even just like we were talking about the SEO plugin.
Yoast, the all-in-one SEO pack,
Yoast is fantastic, but a lot of theme designers write these big custom title tags.
Yep. Yeah,
well, the first thing you got to do is rip that out.
Yeah, you got to rip that out of the header file.
Yeah. And so just knowing that, it's a 2-second fix, but you do have to know it. Otherwise, all of a sudden, your titles are repeating and you can't figure out why and everything else. So get a professional to help you set it up, get it going.
Please.
And when you get a professional who knows the resources that you have, your learning curves, everything else, it's a lot easier to manage. And then what I wanted to talk about today was we came across a fantastic tool out there. So the next problem, of course, that everybody runs into is, okay, I have my WordPress site. Now what?
Yeah.
What do I write about? What do I talk about? And that's probably the ongoing conversation all the time with clients is what should we write about? And that's what we're always helping with the sponsors of the Marketing Tech Blog. What are we going to do a webinar on? What are we going to talk about on the podcast? What are we going to do? Mm-hmm. And so we came across a site that's absolutely fantastic called BuzzSumo. So it's all one word, BUZZ. For our Canadian friends, BUZZ, SUMO. We have Canadian listeners. I'm sure.
Sure we do.
ZZ.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later. Darn Americans, we don't know anything
about.
Yeah, about. Don't shh. So BuzzSumo is basically a search engine. It's a lot like Google. But it enables marketers to analyze articles, infographics, guest posts, giveaways, interviews, and videos to see what's most impactful. And it can find not only the competitors on those topics, but also the people that influence those topics. So imagine, if you're working in a field, let's say what's one of your clients that you love?
Oh, that we love. We got a gun shop that we talk about.
Okay, so a gun shop. So it might be what is it? A shooting range, right? Do they have a shooting range?
Yep.
Yeah. So it might be shooting range safety, and you could type that into BuzzSumo, and you could find out what are the top articles, what are the top infographics, what are the top videos that speak about gun safety, shooting safety, and then who are the people out there that are well known that talk about that. And so what this enables you to do is really figure out what's the popular content out there and who's talking about it. So that way you can, one, approach those people that are influencers and say, hey, we're writing about this content too, and love what you're doing, and maybe you can share our stuff, or maybe we can have you as a guest blogger
on ours,
or on our podcast or whatever. And then two is answer that question, what do we write about? And so, what we get ideas from a lot is reading these articles, so we'll read an article out on another site about conversion rate optimization or something, and we notice that there's a gap. They missed a couple things or whatever. Well, then we'll write our own article and we'll dress it up, and maybe we'll put a diagram or an image. And so the goal is to write a better article, and ultimately that's what you want to be able to do is, I think there's, if you look up any search term, you're going to find 1,000 articles out there. Yeah. But it's really the differentiation, that makes the difference. And so when you use a tool like BuzzSumo and you see, this is a topic that really is ranked well, and a lot of people shared it, and there's a lot of conversation around it. Well, now what can I do? If we're leaders in this space, what can I do to improve upon that topic? Because that's what you ultimately want to do is if you have 800 people in the room all saying the same thing, nobody's differentiating themselves. But if you can go out there and you can say, hey, we're different because X, Y, and Z, so have you, can you mention the customer's name?
Indie Trading Post.
Oh, Indie Trading Post.
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
I went out there.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, I did. Shot my gun out there.
I want to go.
I know we should. We should have a shoot.
Go to the gun range and then Dino World, or
well, that's a drive. but
so it's called a road trip.
So Indie Trading Post does have some key differences, right? They have a good indoor range that's very long. They have experts in there.
Oh yeah,
I got to talking to those guys, and they
know their stuff.
and I don't. So I inherited my guns, so I didn't know what I was doing. And then I wanted to teach my daughter how to shoot.
Yeah, and they've got classes there and everything.
Yeah. So that's differentiation, right? So being able to write an article about the safety, what to do, who to talk to, and then, oh, by the way, we have a class. Here's a call to action, and so they can really differentiate themselves, let's say, from just some shooting range that just has an outdoor range and everything else. And so BuzzSumo, you can exclude words. You can search multiple words. So you could say, mobile or smartphone or iPhone, and get topic ideas. You can do exact phrase matching on it. You can search by URL. So if you've got a competitor that is kicking your butt, you can say, what's the most popular content on their site about this keyword?
Yeah.
And then you can search multiple domains, and then you can even search by author. So I could search Thomas Broadbeck on Site Strategics.
Oh, you don't want to search that.
And see what your most popular content is. But it's a fantastic tool, and the ranking information associated is directly out of Moz's site authority.
Okay.
So they do a good job of actually showing from a search engine authority too, what these articles that are well performing have done. So if you get a chance, it's free. They're going to launch a pro version, I think, that's going to have some more stuff. But right now it's free. So BuzzSumo.com. I would absolutely go there and start doing some research on the topics that you want to write about.
Yeah, another added benefit, I forget the company, I think it's called Backlinko. A guy named Brian Dean who talks about that if he's looking at other people's content, but then making it better.
Yeah.
So like if there's a top 10 list or a top 30 list of something, make your list the top 50 list, and then go to all the websites that link to that one and say, hey, that one has 30, but mine has 50. You want to link to mine?
We have a post out there, the social media image dimension sizes.
Yeah.
And someone just wrote us and said, hey, we did an updated infographic. Well, we're going to replace the one that we have.
You don't have outdated stuff on your website.
Yeah, we want the most up-to-date stuff. So.
Yeah.